Recording live in the Lucky Number 7 Lounge, this is Dine, Drink Vegas, the podcast by and for everybody stuck at home, wishing they were in the land of neon lights and bad decisions. I'm your host, John, also known as the Baller on a Budget, and you've stumbled across episode number 93, where we're going to bring you something I think is tasty booze, but Bill has a bone to pick with me. We're also going to break down a lot of Las Vegas news. Bill's going to give you an update on his recent trip to Biloxi, and I'm going to preview my upcoming trip to Vegas. But before we can get to any of that, it's time to introduce the founder of Dine, Drink Travel and Dine, Drink Vegas himself. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I mean the high roller formerly of the High Plains, the leader in the luxury lounge, the king of comps, the Alabama slammer, the man who's always waiting on that limo to carry him away to a luxurious destination. Of course, I mean Bill. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening, John. Do you know what they never have in the luxury lounge?
I'm guessing you're going to say this cocktail.
They never have this cocktail in the luxury lounge because in the luxury lounge, we serve stuff that's good.
Bill, I am so disappointed that you did not like this. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are busting out my favorite cocktail of all time. It is a controversial cocktail. This is the Trinidad Sour. It was invented by famed New York and Las Vegas bartender Giuseppe Gonzalez. There are places in both cities that claim he invented it while in their town. Lots of bars in Vegas can make this for you if they have a bartender who was trained under Mr. Gonzalez. And here's what makes this drink unique. Here's the build. 1.5 ounces of Angostura bitters. Angostura is the main spirit. 1/2 ounce of rye whiskey. 3/4 ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice. 1 ounce of orgeat. And you can garnish it with a lemon twist if you want, although it is a very opaque color. I didn't bother. You shake it with ice. You strain it into a cocktail glass. Bill, before I give my tasting notes, which I have some lovely things to say about this drink, I believe in doing the bad news first. So why don't you give the counter argument for everything you hate about this drink, and then I will explain why I think it is sublime.
So Rachel looked at this and smelled it, and her only comment was, why? She then tried to come up with some deeper tasting notes and said that it smelled a lot like Caribbean spices. Well, there's a reason for that, sweetheart. I'm looking at it. It's just visually unappealing. It's kind of like, it looks like a watered down Bloody Mary that somebody didn't have the decency to add any vodka to. But because I'm a scholar, am going to take a sip now. All right. So I still don't like it, and I won't make this again unless I'm under duress. But now that I've left it sitting there for a while, I've stirred it for a while, and some of the ice is, I put a great big ice cube in it. Some of that ice is melted. It actually, it's not that it tastes better, it's that it tastes significantly less bad than it did. And I think what would help this, drink would be some orange bitters. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get an orange peel in just a second when you're talking and try putting that in here. One of the other things I notice is that I've got to stir it fairly constantly because it's like the ingredients separate in a way that I haven't seen in other cocktails. So the longer it sits and the more mixed it is, the less terrible it becomes. But it's the bitters just punches you in the mouth, and I love bitters as a seasoning flavor. I don't like the bitters as the dominant flavor of the drink.
And that's fair. I will say, Bill, I suspect you may not have shaken yours vigorously enough. Because if you shake it really vigorous, it forms sort of an emulsion. And mine looks like crushed maroon velvet. It doesn't look like a Bloody Mary that's been watered down. And it's also got, you should have shaken yours a lot more. That is an insufficiently, I see that. But I mean, Bill, look at mine. Look at the ruby garnet maroon color. Look at the foam around the top. You've really got to shake the hell out of this drink. It's got to get emulsified and really carry some of the juice and the bitters into a suspension. Out of curiosity, what rye did you go with?
Templeton. I think that's just what I had out on my bar. What'd you go with for your rye?
I went with Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye at 100 proof. I do think that 100 proof really helps. It helps the rye punch above its weight class. The Jack Daniel's rye in particular, I would stay away from any ryes like Whistle Pig that have an overly earthy dirt type note, ground type note, terroir, because the bitter spices in that are too much. The Jack Daniel's, to me, is the perfect foil for the Angostura. This has a luscious mouthfeel because of the way I shook it and got that texture to it. And the spice flavors just evolve on your tongue. There's almost a numbing quality to this much Angostura that I kind of like. If you've had the verbena drink at the Cosmo that when you bite down on the flower, it goes numb, it's not that intense of a numbing sensation, but there is a bit of that numbingness just from the onslaught of all of the herbs and spices in the Angostura.
So give me just a second, John. I am going to get up and I'm going to get a piece of dried orange peel because there's something about this and the flavor profile which suggests to me which some orange is going to make it just a little bit better. So use Vegas words. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the first news story, then we'll circle back. So actually, no, I'm not. You know what? Yes, I am. It's just going to mess up any videos we make out of this. So what? So we're going to jump in to dining and drinking news. So Scott at Vital Vegas reported that Bottled Blonde, the 3-story bar from Gwen Stefani located in front of the Horseshoe, will now be managed by the 81/82 group, who run the popular Chinatown Taco and Tequila bar Boss Por Favor, among other successful Vegas venues. The partnership is a clear indicator that Bottled Blonde has not been a smashing success up to this point. So, Bill, what do you think of this idea of Bottled Blonde having to take on new outside managers when they're such a new place?
So, I mean, a whole lot of places have a concept without having a plan, and maybe that's what happened here. I'm not sure how well the particular outside group they brought in, pairs with what they were trying to do at Bottled Blonde. So it may be too many ideas going on, but I don't hate it, right? Like it's a business, and what they were doing wasn't working. I don't love it though, because as you point out, it is so recently after they opened, they probably didn't have a great plan to start with.
Yeah, I think they expected, Old Red next door is attached to Blake Shelton. Bottled Blonde is attached to his wife, Gwen Stefani. And Old Red has been an unqualified hit. That place has taken off and is doing gangbusters. I think they just assumed that if you're a fan of Blake and country, you must be a fan of Gwen and rock and pop and ska. And I don't think that's true. Not everybody is like the Osmonds. Not everybody's a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. And I think they're going to have to reset their marketing model a little bit.
I think they are, but part of that comes with their at Bottled Blonde, their newly launched happy hour that includes $3 beers, shots, and spirits, and $1 wings from 3 to 6 p.m. daily. So if you've got one of these big overpriced Vegas bars, John, then I think a really good happy hour for a solid 3-hour stretch is a great way to go. And at $3, I almost don't care what the shots are. In related news about shots, John, I found some orange bitters, and I poured just a ton of those into this drink, along with a slice of dehydrated orange. And I still don't like the Trinidad Sour, but it's way, way better with the orange notes. That drink needs orange in it.
Okay, I will accept your opinion. I mean, we're all allowed to have that. I will say the bracingness of the lemon juice really cuts through the aggressive spices to me, and I like the interplay between the spicy and the sour. But we all have different tastes, and I will say the Trinidad Sour is not for the faint of heart. Not everybody's going to love this drink, and that's okay. Bill, I want to circle back on this happy hour. I don't think I'm going to get to this part of the strip on my trip here in just a few days. But I will tell you, I would go there just for this if I was in the neighborhood. This is not just a good deal by Vegas standards. If some place in my town was doing $3 beers, $3 shots, and $1 wings, I'd go there too. They may have struggled out of the gate, but this has got to pack the house, I'm guessing.
I would actually make a point of going there for that. I could absolutely see us making dinner one night or late lunch, early supper. So Lepper one night where we just go drink beer and eat wings. And our total tab isn't huge as long as there's not, some random stupid service charge which goes on the bill.
Well, and we're going to get to that in just a second, but duly noted for the next guy's trip. And by the way, Bill, I got to tell you, Bottled Blonde has the same thing we're about to talk about since you brought it up. Jacob's Life in Vegas reports that Tom's Watch Bar in New York has instituted a 4% service or CNS fee, joining a growing list of strip venues, including Bottled Blonde and Old Red and Beer Park and a lot of things on the Caesars portfolio that are charging these bogus fees to their bills to nickel and dime visitors. Now, Bill, have you ever noticed one of these fees on a receipt in Vegas? Because I have.
A couple of times I have. Usually I don't, though. And I hope you're not going to judge me, John. Once or twice when I've been in Vegas, I haven't been all the way sober and may not have paid attention to some of the finer details on my receipts. I suspect part of that, though, is because, well, I'm sure they meet whatever the legal requirement is for disclosing this fee. They probably buried it somewhere that I wasn't looking, right? So I wasn't paying attention. So, John, this 4% service fee, to be clear, is this the world's smallest gratuity, or is this them just pretending that their prices are 4% lower than they actually are?
It would be the latter, and I think it is expressly that. So we were on a group trip with our spouses at Beer Park one time, and we this was a 5% fee, I think, at Beer Park, and it is tiny print on that menu, and we just went ahead and paid at that time. And I don't think you or Mike noticed. I did. I just rolled with it, but. I will say the one thing that I will note, since we're mentioning that Jacob's Life in Vegas brought this up, Jacob has a number of videos of him at a number of places where he will very politely, and please folks, always be polite, because your waiter or waitress is not who put this on the menu or on your check, but where he very politely says, hey, would you mind removing this fee? And almost every place he does this, they do, including Tom's. I have on occasion done the same thing in Vegas, and I've even gone further and told the server, if you could get this 4% off, I will add that on top of what I was already going to tip you, because I don't mind paying you more. You're awesome, but your bosses, they get menu prices. And I've had servers chuckle at me and take it off. So for those of you that this bothers, ask real nice, be a good person, tip your server, but most of these venues will waive this thing off for you if you ask. Or you can just roll with it because 4% may not be that big a deal, especially if you were eating $1 wings.
Yeah, no, and that does make sense. One other dining and drinking news, John, Eater Vegas reported that on June 15th of this year, Casa Playa chef Sarah Thompson took home the 2026 James Beard Awards Best Chef Southwest. She's the first Vegas chef to win this award for the past 2 decades, and her restaurant, Casa Playa, is located in the Wynn, Las Vegas. So, John, does this make you want to go check out Casa Playa?
Potentially. I will say that for Mexican food menus designed by a white person, I already have Border Grill for that, and I quite love Border Grill. But if I happen to be in the Wynn and craving Mexican food, sure, I would give it a go. We should note that Scott at Vital Vegas says that there is a quote-unquote kerfluffle among some food writers both in Vegas and beyond that accuse the James Beard Award for being a pay-to-play scheme and suggesting that Wynn may have bought Chef Thompson's award here. I've never eaten her food. I've read a lot of reviews of her food and reviews of the restaurant. I'm not sure that's accurate. And even if it is true that the Wynn had some influence, from everything I've read, the woman knows how to cook. And so I don't know how much stock I put into that quote unquote kerfluffle.
So they're open for breakfast. And you know how I feel about Mexican breakfast, particularly now that I live in Alabama, where it is the tiniest bit harder to get than it is in your town.
Mm-hmm.
And the breakfast menu, I mean, it's an expensive breakfast, but it's not obscenely priced. I think I go to this place, John, and I think what I do is I go for breakfast. I try their huevos rancheros, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for that by chance. No, it's not going to be Texas style. It's not going to be border style. So there's not going to be asado with a fried egg on that menu, is there?
I am looking. No, but they have some interesting things. They've got something called an enfrijolada. So beans, pasilla chili, and ricotta cheese, presumably wrapped up like it's an enchilada. I could try that. I mean, they've got your standard chilaquiles.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm sold. Chilaquiles, you got me. I'm there.
Yeah. No, they've got some of the standard Mexican breakfast things. Breakfast tacos with eggs and Oaxaca cheese. So they've got the right stuff, dude. I would give it a shot. Nope. And then I will quit menu surfing. But I think I go, and yes, it's breakfast, but shut up, it's Vegas. Don't judge me. I think I go for the queso birria tacos.
Yeah, okay. So that's never a bad move. That's never been a bad move in the history of it.
Well, and that is the right sort of thing to help you recover from the night before in Vegas.
I do believe that good birria has medicinal qualities to it. Without a
100%. 100 million Mexican grandmas cannot be wrong.
No, they can't. Well, let's shift gears into some entertainment and sports news. Comedian and noted joke thief Carlos Mencia is facing charges of tax evasion over $8.7 million in allegedly unreported income. He was taken into custody last week. Bill, have you ever been a Carlos Mencia fan, and can you ever get to the place to forgive him for stealing jokes? Because he did really catch a lot of crap for that.
So I was unaware that he was a joke thief. I will say some of his stuff is fairly funny. I don't know that I've listened to one of his routines in at least 10 years, maybe 15. But I remember I used to listen to him, on the radio, and he was a funny guy. So from whom did he steal jokes?
Well, there's a whole series of videos on the internet where Joe Rogan, at some point he stole a Joe Rogan joke, because before he was random podcast guy, Joe Rogan was a working and successful comedian. Mencia stole one of Rogan's bits, and Rogan made it a point to document Mencia stealing bits from many other comedians. And there were a whole series of videos where here was a comedian that was doing this bit before, and here's Carlos Mencia doing this bit a few years later. So there's a good chance whichever routines of his you loved may have been lifted from other people. I did notice that even when they both had shows on Comedy Central, that I got the feeling some of Mencia's material sounded an awful lot like early Dave Chappelle work, and that is one of the accusations too. The guy clearly has great comedic timing. I'll give him that. But if he's stealing material from comics, my only question is, Bill, if he's going to do time in prison, does he wind up stealing Ali Sadiq's prison jokes when he gets out?
I am legitimately curious to see his first show.
Yeah, no kidding. By the way,
he will have had a life experience, which I so far have not. And I would be delighted to get some insight into that part of his life experience.
I will say, if you're not listening to Ali Sadiq, the man is hilarious. And not just his prison material. He's got a whole routine about his son. Well, both of his sons, but particularly the son he wound up boxing. You need to go look that one up, Bill.
I will do it. In other news, Deadline reports that when The Wizard of Oz's run as the house movie at the Sphere ends in 2027, cult classic The Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I am from your town and can pronounce complicated words like horror, cult classic The Rocky Horror Picture Show will time warp its way into the high-tech venue. So, John, I don't want to see either one of those. Like, I really want to go into the venue and I really want to see a movie, but I think either one of those shows would just freak me right out on that Omni screen that is the Sphere.
I want to get to Vegas for this. Whatever trips I get in 2027, I don't know if I'm going to get one trip or two. I'm doing this. I'm absolutely doing this. I will find a way to do this. I'm so excited about this. It is such a weird, fun, crazy movie, and the crowd participation is just next level. And I know you and I are two old, fat, white, straight Southern Protestants. The Rocky Horror Show is not our crowd. The crowd that goes to this movie is not our crowd, Bill. They don't go to the country club with you. But once in your life, and maybe the sphere's too much, once in your life, you got to go to a midnight screening of this movie just to see how the other half live. It's fascinating.
I mean, how's the cocktail service? Does the bartender already know my order?
I don't know. The only time I've been to the Sphere, I saw postcards from Earth, and we had pre-gamed before the show, and that's a relatively short 45-minute. We didn't hit the concession stand, so I'm sure they will serve you a beverage, but I really can't give you an intelligent answer to your question.
Well, I do need to get in there, and sure, maybe it's for this.
Moving on to sports ball and sports puck, the Golden Knights parted ways with head coach John Tortorella early last week, and then a few days later named assistant coach and minor league Henderson Silver Knights former coach Ryan Craig as his replacement. Many fans voiced their anger at the exit of beloved foul-mouthed Tortorella, who was only hired just 8 games before the playoffs started and took a squad nobody thought would contend all the way to the finals. Bill, I know you're not a big hockey guy, but do you think it's really weird that they brought this guy? He took them a couple games shy of winning it all, and then they're giving him his walking papers?
Yeah, like that makes absolutely no sense. And the only 2 explanations I can think of are that there's some scandal we don't know about, or alternatively, the Golden Knights are as bad at running a sports team as your beloved Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and hiring somebody that's been an assistant in your organization and coached in your minor league farm system makes me feel like they just wanted their guy, and that the ownership there wants to make sure that they have control through their guy. And on the one hand, that's easy to criticize because when Jerry Jones does that, it ends bad for the Cowboys. But I would point out that Las Vegas has been way more successful in the past 9 years than the Cowboys have been in the last 30. Maybe their owner's allowed to meddle.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know what better result he's expecting than the one he got with the previous coaching change.
Fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, sorry.
Ahead.
Okay, fair enough then. ESPN reports that the Golden Knights owner Bill Foley has launched a bid to become the owner of the planned Las Vegas NBA expansion team. Foley's Golden Knights have gotten to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times in the organization's brief 9-year history, winning in 2019 and 2023, but losing this season shortly before firing their coach. So, what do you think, John, about somebody owning 2 different sports puck teams in the same town?
Let me put it this way. If he does it, I will be a fan of this basketball team, because this sounds like the kind of thing, like I was a Mavs fan because I like Mark Cuban. A lot of people hate Mark Cuban. I know a lot of people don't dig his politics one way or the other. We're not a political podcast. I know Mark Cuban is a horse's ass. I know he's arrogant. I know he's over the top. So am I. I like Mark Cuban. I think I like Bill Foley, and I hope he gets this franchise. I already said that I divorced the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Mavs for the way they're treating their home. Bill Foley's already said if he gets this franchise, they're playing at T-Mobile, the same place as his hockey team. I love the idea that he's being loyal to his city. He's being loyal to a venue that has been fantastic for both locals and tourists. And he not only wants to keep his hockey team there, he wants to bring the NBA there. I like this guy. If he wins, if he gets this team, I'm a fan.
You know what? Good for you. And if you ever go to watch a game, I will be happy to tag along with you.
Well, moving on to a little gambling note, and this probably should have gone in the next segment, but we're going to go ahead and leave it here because I put it in the wrong place and we'll deal with it. Multiple outlets cover the news of a tourist from Atlanta hitting 10.3 million progressive megabucks slot jackpot last week at the Westgate. Bill, have you ever had a hand pay of this magnitude?
If I had, John, I would not be drinking this terrible drink. Like it'd be all pappy all the time, just like pappy and orange bitters. That'd be the only thing in my closet.
I wonder what a Trinidad Sour with pappy would taste like.
Shut your filthy mouth. Why would you do that to a good bourbon?
I don't know, but I'm on my second Trinidad Sour, and I'm so enjoying this drink. It's so good. It's so
I'm
good.
still at a lifetime total of considerably less than one Trinidad Sour. So, John, let's move on to casino and business news. According to the travel experts consulted by Travel and Leisure magazine, Las Vegas is the most affordable travel destination in the U.S. for summer 2026. Experts compared average Vegas hotel prices with prices in other tourist towns and also pointed to the wave of all-inclusive deals as their evidence. And, John, that smells wrong to me. For one thing, we just ran a story which is talking about the hidden fees in Vegas. And for the other thing, a week ago today, I was in Biloxi, another tourist town, which was considerably cheaper in every possible regard. So let's start with this, John. Do you believe the base finding that Vegas is the most affordable travel destination in the U.S., do you believe that's true?
So I believe it probably depends a lot on how you're getting to town and where you're staying and all of those things. But I'm going to argue that in terms of generally speaking, if Vegas is not the best deal, it's one of the best deals. Now, on any given week, someplace else might beat it out. You get to drive to Biloxi, so that's a factor. But I will tell you that it's cheaper for me to fly to Vegas than to fly out to Alabama to visit you, for instance. So for people who are flying, that's a factor. And I just looked to stay at the La Quinta in Amarillo for the dates that I'm going to Vegas. It's $188 a night to be at the La Quinta in Amarillo, Texas, for the same dates that I will be in a corner king suite at the W with VIP lounge access, where my average is $167 a night. So there's some merit here.
There can absolutely be some high-end deals. And apparently, I've just decided, based on this old-fashioned I poured myself, to move the end of show segment forward. But I'm thinking about the trip that I made last week. And sure, the fact that I drove mattered, but the hotels were comparably priced to what you're talking about. The food was cheaper. The drinks were cheaper. There weren't hidden fees on stuff. Parking was free, like all of that. So, yes, there are absolutely some deals to be had in Vegas. I struggle to think of it. We have complained too many times about hidden fees on this show. I struggle to think of Vegas as a value destination anymore.
I'm going to disagree with you to this degree. If you just roll to the Strip, eat on the Strip, and take what the Strip gives you, you are correct. If you're willing to do a little bit of legwork, which this podcast will help you do, I still think that Vegas can be absolutely as cheap. And by the way, we just covered $3 beers and $1 wings right there on the Strip. So I think it just depends on how much do you want to work for your discounts. To be in Biloxi where you can walk how long would it take you to get to a locals restaurant from the front door of Beau Rivage?
It depends on the lights. If you hit the lights right, 5 minutes. If you hit the lights wrong, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
On foot.
So if you want to get to a locals place in Vegas from the Bellagio, Beau Rivage and Bellagio, sort of similar properties, at least in terms of their layout.
Right? It is weird how much the Beau Rivage looks like the Bellagio. Yeah.
So in that same 5 to 7 minutes that in Biloxi, you can get to a great deal in a locals restaurant, you're not out of the parking garage at Bellagio. So it's easier to save money getting to that local spot in Biloxi. no question. Vegas has a lot more local spots. So it just comes down to how hard do you want to work to get your deal?
I see your point, and I will actually price it out because I am due for a Vegas trip sometime soon, and I need to get back to town.
You are overdue for a Vegas trip, my friend. Overdue. And here's a couple of things that might get you there. We got back-to-back Derek Stevens stories. On Friday, June 20th, owner Derek Stevens officially unveiled the newly repaired Sigma Derby machine at its new home at the Golden Nugget. It is not at the Golden Nugget. That's not dyslexia. That's just stupidity on my part. At the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. The machine was moved from the D to the Golden Gate the previous Saturday, with the parade complete with Shetland ponies, dwarf jockeys, dancing girls, musicians, and a rowdy Fremont Street crowd. Speaking of Mr. Stevens, Bill, because I'm trying to entice you to get back to Vegas, the D is offering their All-American special now through mid-September, where you can get 2 nights and a $50 drink credit for $100. Not $100 a night, not $100 plus resort fees, $100 all in, 2 nights stay at the D, $50 drink credit. Bill, do these two stories get you excited about staying down on Fremont?
Absolutely. Yeah. At some point, it's so cheap that it's absolutely worth it. And so the fact that am I reading that first story correctly? That they didn't just get rid of Sigma Derby, they replaced it with a new one?
No, they newly repaired it, not replaced, repaired.
Okay, fair. So you've still got one of my favorite games to play. You've got just a phenomenal deal. Yeah, that would absolutely get me to check this out. Matter of fact, and you and I will talk after we quit recording. I may book that sometime soon.
That would be outstanding, sir.
Huh. Well, in other downtown news, the Four Queens has reduced their inventory of video poker machines and eliminated 9-6 jacks or better games because they can't figure out that 3-2 is an odd you could give. They've reduced their 9-6 jacks or better games and their 10-7 double bonus poker. The Four Queens has long been a favorite spot for diehard video poker fans due to their favorable pay tables, but those good odds are gone now. So, John, you are our video poker guy on this podcast. Where would you go to play video poker right now?
Well, the answer would have been the Four Queens up until this news story hit. The Four Queens was one of my favorite places downtown to sit and play video poker. I think at this point, Plaza is the best place to do that downtown. It's good that you asked that. I'm actually debating that. I will have on my upcoming trip a morning where my wife plans to draw a bubble bath and sit in the suite and read a book and drink wine at 9 in the morning. And I'm going to get out of the hotel and go play video poker for about 4 or 5 hours. And I've been researching this, and I'm down to 2 options because of the pay tables and because of their reward programs. I'm either going to go to the Palms, which has good pay tables, but not great, and decent reward points. You get a 1 point per $4.50 spent on video poker, which beats the 1 to 10 on MGM properties like Mandalay, where I'm staying at the W Mandalay complex. And the Palms is a place I really want to stay sometime. But South Point, you get 1 point per $2 in. South Point has really good poker odds. They have really loose slots. And it's a long way from the rest of the strip. It's way down on the south end of the strip. I don't know that you can call Las Vegas Boulevard the strip anymore once you're past the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. But I'm beginning to entertain the possibility of a South Point trip, and I might just go gamble there till I get me some comps.
Huh. I very much hope you will, and I look forward to your trip report about how that goes.
Well, I'll keep you posted. We'll see what happens. Coming from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, the Gold Spike Hotel, which isn't presently running a casino, but important to this story, still holds a valid casino license, has been sold to real estate developers Juan Jeff Mai and King Zong for $11.38 million. What was I drinking when I typed this? Less than half of what the late Tony Hsieh paid for it several years before the Zappos founder passed away. The property, located just off Fremont Street, was once a thriving casino. More recently, it has served as a boutique hotel and has a thriving bar with a video arcade of all things. As of the time of this recording, no announcements have been made about any planned changes for the property. But Bill, I've got to believe part of the reason to buy this was to get that coveted gaming license.
Yeah, that would absolutely make sense. So I'm not excited about this yet because I simply don't know enough, and it's not a place I would normally go. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, the gaming license is what you're going for there, John.
Well, and I think when you see the downtown Grand struggling, the Gold Spike is right there off of Ogden, just to the other side of the Fremont Street experience. I don't know. This is kind of intriguing to me. I want to see what develops.
I absolutely. Speaking of things which are developing, according to Caesars, like actually from Caesars Corporate, the Go Shop window on their acquisition by Tillman Fertitta expires on July the 11th. While no formal bids have leaked, rumors persist that private equity firms are working to see if they can beat Fertitta's offer. So, John, you and I have talked about this before, but I'm actually pulling for Fertitta's bid to win out, which it looks like it will, because a couple of private holders, owning most of the strip, I think is good because of the long-term perspective on customer loyalty. But yeah, we've talked about this story before. By a couple of episodes from now, that deal should be essentially at the point of closing.
Yeah, and I'm completely with you. No notes on your analysis. I'm rooting for Tillman to get this. I really don't want to see another equity firm jumping in there. I am a capitalist. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for investors making a buck. But I do think as a customer, I tend to get treated better by businesses with an owner instead of businesses with 1,000 owners trying to get out next quarter.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think you're correct.
Harry Reid Airport reported that aggressive expansion by Southwest has more than made up for the lost flights from Spirit Airlines going bankrupt. As of mid-June, they are experiencing a 4.2% increase in weekend arrivals despite higher airfares. The more eagle-eyed among you may note that mid-June weekend arrivals is a very specific metric, and if airfares are higher, then at least some guests will be, if airfares are higher, then at least some guests will be cutting their in Vegas budgets to pay for things. So, Bill, good news or bad news here? What do you think?
I don't think it's good or bad. I think it is fake news. So I think they are reporting higher tourist numbers. And you and I have talked about the decrease in the number of tourists before, but a weirdly specific increase on weekends in a limited time frame means that they are looking for a statistic about something they've done well, and they parse enough statistics to eventually find something. To borrow from Mark Twain, they are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And gosh, that is super specific. Also, assuming it is correct, the fact that there are the airfares are higher, that money's got to come from somewhere. So even if there are more people, if they spent more money to get there on their airplanes, that is less money they have available when they get to town.
Particularly if they were a Spirit passenger who had to switch over to Southwest. Because if you're flying Spirit, you're a brokey. I don't even know that you're a baller on a budget. You're just on a budget.
Yeah, you're broke.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. John, it is time for my favorite segment of this show, the Vegas Whiskey Tango Foxtrot segment, where we talk about just the weirdest and wildest thing which has happened in Las Vegas. And listeners, when we get to this segment, it's almost never because it's a thing you should be doing. And this is absolutely consistent with a don't do this.
Yeah, it's a how not to Vegas segment.
Yeah, please don't. Las Vegas locally reported that a man was assaulted after showing men he borrowed money from fake evidence of a big win on DraftKings. The victim was lured to a room at the MGM Grand by, and John, I'm not making this up, a DJ, a dentist, and a physical therapist. So, your typical rough and rowdy crowd. The three assailants strangled the victim, suffocated him with a pillow, and locked him in the closet, and then tried to extort the victim's father for $185,000. The suspects have been charged with first-degree kidnapping, extortion, conspiracy, battery with intent to commit mayhem, robbery or grand larceny, and coercion with force or threats. And John, out of all of those charges, my favorite is battery with intent to commit mayhem.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even sure what that means. That's just like throwing some stuff at him. So, listeners, don't bet more than you can afford to lose. And don't lie about having the money, because I think this guy's critical mistake was betting money he couldn't afford to lose. But then once he told the people he borrowed money from that he just had a big win, they were going to want that money immediately. And when he couldn't produce, things went south. And it is still the fault of the assailants. And you know what? There's some things that, let's call him Mr. Smith. There's still some things that Mr. Smith could have done better here.
Okay, and I see all your red flags on the victim side of the ledger. I want to jump to the assailant side. First of all, I don't know about this trio. Is a DJ, a dentist, and a physical therapist walk into a bar going to be the new setup for a million jokes, like a preacher, a priest, and a rabbi? Is that what we're doing here? This is the weirdest assortment of alleged criminal conspirators I have ever seen. Second of all, if you are going to kidnap and extort, and you're thinking of where can I lure somebody so that I can kidnap them, that I might assault them and try to extort their family, why would you pick a venue in the MGM Grand, a Vegas Strip casino, where there are cameras everywhere? They saw you come into the property. They saw you meet the victim. They saw you get the victim up to a hotel room. They saw you leave the hotel room. And I suppose at some point they saw the bloodied and beaten victim come out of the same hotel room. Everything you did except in the room is videotaped. I can't think of a worse place to commit this crime. I really can't.
John, I, for one, celebrate the fact that criminals are quite frequently not very good at crime.
Yeah. And apparently, I don't know, I don't want to, some of our listeners may be DJs, dentists, and physical therapists, but apparently well, no, I don't want to say that. I guess you could be really smart in your professional life and be dumb in your personal life, but I'm just amazed that these people have professional careers that are this freaking stupid. Yeah, I hope my dentist is smarter than this guy.
I hope my dentist doesn't smother and try to kill me. That's really everything I'm going for.
Yeah, that's kind of my fear of going to the dentist, which is better than my fear of my proctologist, but we won't get into that here.
Well, John, should we talk about the trip I just took and the one that you're getting ready to take?
Let's shall. Bill, why don't you regale us with tales of the city of Biloxi?
So we went to Biloxi and it rained 14 inches in one day. And folks, if you're on a sandbar where it rains 14 inches in one day, you're probably not leaving your hotel very much. But Biloxi, to me, is baller on a budget Vegas. Is it the same as Vegas? No, of course it's not. But stuff is so much cheaper there. High-end steak, high-end seafood. Instead of a cocktail being $20 to $25, cocktails are $12 to $15. Now, I don't know if you knew this, John, but I like cocktails, and I had several of them. During the day when it wasn't raining, we took a little boat out there on the channel. We were scheduled to have gone to a AA baseball game where for $60 we had tickets and air conditioning with an all-you-can-eat buffet. The Hard Rock is a lovely hotel. The Beau Rivage is a lovely hotel. John, I just like Biloxi. And critically, my wife and kids like it. So if you're going somewhere with, those members of your family who are too young to go to Vegas or who simply don't like it, there are options for them and stuff for them to do. John, I am telling you that you and me and Lori and Rachel all need to go sometime because our girls will like it, which means you and I will get to go, and they will serve us things that you like to eat.
Well, I'm all for that, Bill. That sounds like a lovely trip. And I don't know when I'm going to make that happen, but I definitely want to make that happen. Lori and I have been talking about that and looking at the calendar. Maybe MLK Day weekend, maybe sometime over the winter holiday season.
Something good happens. But John, more interesting to me is the trip you're taking. So we've talked about it on several episodes, including earlier this one. Talk to me about VIP lounge access. What made you decide to book the VIP lounge on this trip?
So what it boiled down to is this. So originally we had booked a room at the Mandalay Bay, not the W, but we were upgraded because I guess they're having occupancy issues to a Corner King suite at the W. And I had bid to pay extra for that, but looking at the folio on my MGM app, I'm getting charged what I was going to pay for a base room at Mandalay Bay, which for me included one comp night. It's a sweet deal. But we're going to arrive in Vegas on noon on Sunday, and we're not going to depart until 2 on Wednesday. And what that means is I really need an early check-in and I need a late checkout. And by the time you look at the fees MGM charges for both of those, and you think about the fact that I can pretty easily put down 2 specialty coffees every morning. My wife will probably drink one. I will swing by for bottled waters and beers and wine for my wife. The $75 a day for that VIP lounge, where we don't have to mess with standing in line to check in or check out. We go right into the lounge. We get that concierge level service. Early check-in is included. Late checkout is included. Sure, it would have been slightly cheaper to pay for early check-in and late checkout, but honestly, I think we get pretty close to our money's worth, and it's just something we don't have to worry about.
Yeah. So how do you feel about staying in the W instead of across the hallway in the Mandalay Bay?
I think with the quality of the room upgrade I got, I'm okay with it. Now, my wife has some mobility issues. So one of the things we have planned for this trip is we are doing the Royal Crawl in the Mandalay Luxor complex. Now, you and I have done the Royal Crawl on the Link Promenade and downtown, so you're familiar with how this works. At Mandalay Bay, currently, the Royal Crawl takes you to Swingers Golf Club, to what is the high floor luxury room over at the W, Bill? Skyfall Lounge.
Right.
Over to the
you were
house
not.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was listening to you. Bill, I think you've pulled your microphone.
Yeah, I did.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
So you were physically with us when we went to Skyfall, but you were not with us in spirit when we got there. And I do hope you'll enjoy it more this time.
I think I will. The last time, that was my first trip after we lost our daughter, and that first night in Vegas was really rough. I reset by the next morning. The first night there was emotionally a tough night. But so we're going to hit up the 5 places that you get drinks are Swingers Golf Club, Skyfall, the House of Blues, Flanker Sports Bar, and then Play over at the Luxor. So for somebody with mobility issues, by the time we're done with all that and we're coming back from Luxor, it's a lot closer to your room at the W than to go all the way across the property to get to the Mandalay Tower. So from a mobility point of view, it's great for the pub crawl night, but it makes getting to the pool a much longer walk, which we plan to do the pool Monday morning. And that's going to be a bit of a haul. So in terms of mobility, there's pluses and minuses. But Bill, you and I have met. I'm going to have breakfast at least twice this trip up at Reraw, and the W is ever so much closer to Reraw.
Yeah, actually, that's everything you needed to tell me. And may it be the light, dainty, and healthy experience that we all know it will be.
Yeah, the full Irish breakfast, no beans, thank you very much, and about 5 Guinness.
I mean, I would go with Irish coffee, but it is a free republic, and I respect your choice.
Yes, yes, and Guinness is the choice. So Monday we're going to hit up the pool in the morning, and then at some point Monday we're going to find our way over to the Arts District and hit up Stray Pirate Tiki Bar. I really got to get a tiki bar in. I mean, listeners, I am drinking a cocktail that is like 60% Angostura. I got a problem that only tiki bars can solve. And then we're going to head down to Fremont Street. I picked up a copy of the Las Vegas Advisor coupon book. I have multiple offers for free drinks, like at the Legacy Club, at Circa. I've got free play coupons. I've got match play coupons. We're going to spend about 5-6 hours down on Fremont Street and run through that coupon book and get all of the free gambling and free drinks we can. And then we're going to go sit at Whiskey Liquor Up and watch whatever band is on the 3rd Street stage for a while. Bill, you remember that experience.
I do remember that experience because I had made a wise investment at the craps table, and as a result of that, was able to buy us some lovely Redbreast 12-year-old whiskey.
You kept making the dumbest possible bets on a bubble craps machine, and somehow, through stupid sheer luck, hit it twice. And I'm not even mad because you bought me really expensive whiskey, so it worked out for both of us. I don't advise anybody do what you did. I'm very happy it worked out for you.
And John, I always advise our listeners to win.
Yeah, well, winning is good. It's just not likely doing what you did, but you got it, so I'm happy for you. Then Tuesday, my wife, as I mentioned earlier, she plans on bubble bath, day drinking, and reading a book. I'm heading probably to South Point, maybe to the Palms, to hit up some video poker, a few slot machines. I might get brave and head over to the $5 craps tables and just see if me throwing, I don't know, a relatively small to medium-sized bankroll, a big bankroll for me, but I'm a cheapskate, gets many bounce-back offers to maybe check out South Point on a future trip. Then that night, we're going to hit up Taco Tuesday at Toca Madera, which is between Aria and the shops at Crystal. And we're going to head over to Cosmo and basically hit up every place that serves tequila and have a bunch of margaritas. My wife wants a cloud margarita from China Poblano. We're going to go over to the Ghost Donkey Speakeasy, a few other places, and basically drink tequila till we can't drink tequila anymore.
John, I radically endorse that plan, and I look forward to hearing the tale when you come back.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get some podcast content out of this. I will try to be sober enough to make decent videos. Listeners, if you want to see how not to make a room review, check out my review of the suites at the Golden Gate. It is the worst hotel review video on YouTube. I guarantee it. Come laugh at my hungover self trying to make a room review. I will try to do better work this time around.
You'll be in a better room without a poop and pour, so it'll be altogether possible.
It'll be fine. And I will say, listeners, Bill is definitely the better videographer than I am. Although my short videos are entertaining.
Your short videos are very entertaining, John.
Yeah, and there will be a lot of those coming off of this trip. So if you haven't followed me on social media yet, you should. Bill, let's get to that. Let's bring this episode in for a landing where they can find blah, blah, blah. Ooh, the Trinidad Sour has kicked in. Where can our listeners find more of our content?
You can find us online with very little blah, blah, blah on YouTube at Dine, Drink, Travel, where we bring you videos about high-end hotels, executive lounges in the airports, and the air travel experience. A lot of those are about Las Vegas, but also things like my trips to Ireland and all of the executive lounges in the Las Vegas airport. You can also find us on essentially every social media platform at Dine, Drink, Travel, but the most important of those is probably X, because that's where you can find John.
I am at Dine Drink John on X, and also importantly, sorry for the little background noise, on TikTok, because X and TikTok is where I'm going to be posting a lot of these short videos until Bill moves them to YouTube. And they're going to be entertaining, so you should absolutely follow me. We're so glad you took the time to listen to this episode. If you have a friend planning a trip to Las Vegas or an enemy that hates listening to old fat white guys drink and talk, either way, take a link to this podcast, share it on all of your social media platforms. Go ahead and send it as a text message or a DM to all of those people. Write it on the bathroom wall with a Sharpie. Do whatever you have to do to help us grow this audience so we can keep bringing you this premium, outstanding, top shelf, and free Las Vegas travel content. Thank you so much for listening, and happy travels. We got to quit saying blah, blah, blah.